as a bear in the woods.
Right, come on you fatty. Come on fatty.
I don't even know who lives in there or what the hell's going on there.
Could I sleep in there today? Oh, no room.
And we're on the way there. Ignore the fart. We go, and a bit of that, and a bit of that. Oh,
you know. Singers, James, singers I've got. Ooh. My pedal broke, man. And thanks to Showdown Bros, Mickey's on the most useless street in the world. Come on!
Always keep a shoe in your kitchen department, guys. Don't worry, it's the COVID talking. It's probably wild boar, a few bears, a lot of women washing their cars saying hi on the side of the road.
Go on, Mick, feel it, Mick, feel it. I might be going mad.
Want to see me underwear?
Over 100 drivers raced to make the final 40, and after an explosive debut to the series, the standards now need to be met by all around. Ade Koba took a barnstormer of a win at Okayama in a titanic scrap with Jason Cooper last month, setting those two as the benchmark for the series. However, there are 3 divisions of racing tonight, 25 minutes apiece, and on this day, we find ourselves racing on a piece of sim racing legacy. This is Silverstone National Legacy, the second round of the MX5 World Sim Series, and we're here live on the Global SimRacing Channel. Good evening, race fans from here and around the world. We are just over 5 miles from Milton Keynes, and the most club-friendly layout is the battlefield tonight. My name is Jake Sperry, and alongside me in the booth is DJ Clark. We've got Joe Peak in the production trailer tonight, broadcasting images on cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Now, Silverstone is the home of British motorsport, the first ever Formula One racetrack, and on a national level, the best place to learn a racing craft. We take a look now at our GSRC track guide to study Northamptonshire's world-renowned racing facility.
Welcome to Silverstone. Most famously known for being the first circuit to host a round of Formula One, this place has since become synonymous with British motorsports. Hosting everything from sports cars to touring cars to open wheels and even motorcycles, it's a track that fits a wide variety of vehicles. With 5 different layouts to choose from, you've got a little something for any level of racing. The longest of those layouts boasts 17 turns over more than 3 miles or 5 kilometers, so it can take a bit to get around it, even in higher-powered machinery. Its main characteristics are the long straights, swift corners, and general lack of elevation change. Its most famous set of turns is definitely the Maggots-Beckett sequence, in which anything with high downforce finds itself challenged with the rapid changes of direction. While there is a fair bit of paved runoff in quick corners like Copse and Stowe, the time lost from going off can be costly. There's a few turns with opportunities for overtaking, including Vale, Abbey, and Priory, but in cars with less horsepower, expect the slipstream to be where many attempt to get by. The Hangar Straight is perhaps the most notorious for draft battles to erupt. All in all, this versatile racetrack located just northwest of London provides both history in its roots and action on the tarmac. The huge number of British fans that typically attend events are seldom left wanting.
Silverstone is one of those circuits which you always have that big smile that comes along your face and says, you got a fantastic circuit to go make something happen. It's only 6 turns. It's only a 1.6 mile circuit, DJ, but you look at what Silverstone offers here on a national layout. This is not going to be a track where drivers have the ease of breaking away. They're going to have to work together. This is pack mentality racing at its finest.
Yeah, they certainly are, and those long straightaways here, whether it's going to be the old pit straight, the run from Copse to Maggots, or the club straight, the draft is going to be absolutely crucial for these drivers. I think really and truly where you're going to see the most overtaking opportunities is going down into Brooklands and going down into Maggots, and also those two areas are going to be the places where drivers are going to have to watch out. They can't make a mistake there. It's going to be very easy to run a little bit wide, carry a little bit too much speed down into those corners, and we'll have to see if any drivers get caught out by that over the course of these 3 races.
We certainly will. This is round 2 of 10. They race for the World Final on the 17th of December, just 40 places there. So let's take a look then at how everyone will stack with the Drivers' Championship out there overall. It is Ade Koba who is in control at the top, 184 points from the opening week. We'll have Fernando Antoli and Pablo GoPro Lopez behind second and third because there are seeding day points that are added as well. 20 points for the fastest time over seeding day, which determines which split you'll be racing, which division you have. Jason Cooper will be 4th position ahead of Andres Prieto and Marcelo Peñan in 6th place. Then it's Pablo Espes and Adam Delmont. Morgan Burkhardt is 9th at the moment, with Vladislav Shopov rounding out the top 10 overall. But there's more than just drivers to think about as well here, DJ. There's the team standings.
There are indeed, and very early on, Obsidian Racing throwing down the gauntlet and holding on to a 55-point lead over Next Gen Racing and Delta Sport. Those two locked in a pretty close battle, though, for P2. A little bit farther back is Negative Delta by Bullers there, with 71 points back. 5 Star Motorsports in a battle with them, as well as Blue Rose Team. Then it's CFPM Sampaio, followed by GTD Racing. Carbano, Waka Esports, and Nord Cloud rounds out your top 10.
And then the Nations Cup, which, of course, with Obsidian Racing being an entirely Spanish team, it's no surprise to see Spain up on the top, 349 points. The United Kingdom find themselves second, with Italy in third. The United States, through Morgan Burkhardt, find themselves in 4th. Finland and Bulgaria have themselves a battle with Brazil, 5th, 6th, and 7th, with the Netherlands in 8th position, ahead of both Germany and Turkey, rounding out 9th and 10th positions in the Cups. We are with Division 3 to start. We will then head to Division 2 and Division 1. But DJ, talk us through what makes this series so fantastic.
Well, part of it is that you've got those 3 different battles, those 3 different races that are going to take place here over the course of this one broadcast. This is the second of 10 races that we will have. It's going to be a 25-minute race preceded by a 10-minute 3-lap solo qualifying session. Fixed setups for all of these drivers, and that's really crucial here, Jake, because that means it's all down to the drivers. You're not going to be able to put any tweaks and tunes into the cars. Also, very, very crucial, if there is a little bit of a bobble, if there is a little bit of a mistake that gets made, a spare car is available for these drivers, although taking it will certainly put you farther back down in the field.
It will. Most likely you'll have terminal damage and you'll need to lose about a lap of towing time to get the tow truck out around the circuit and back before you can go forward and continue on. The midst of qualifying we're at the moment is DM Sim Racing's Damien McMullen, the Irishman, up on top at the moment, a 106.927, currently clear of David Geddes in second place. We take a look then on board, heading through this Woodcote flick right to end the lap and try and improve on the lap time. Doesn't on the second lap, but crucially has one more lap. And the thing that we'll be looking at in qualifying is drivers improving lap on lap on lap, DJ. It does take 2 to 3 laps to get the tyres warm, more so here around a short national circuit.
Yeah, very much so. And let's not forget, let's take a look at track temperatures as well. About 81 degrees Fahrenheit out on track right now. So that's a little bit on the chilly side, 26 degrees Celsius, or 27 degrees Celsius, excuse me. It's a little bit on the chilly side for racing circuits. So I think that means it is going to take those 2 to 3 laps, as you mentioned, Jake, for those tires to get into that full operating window. Is there we see Damien McMullen actually pipped off of pole by Jose Gonzalez and Charles Kellyman.
Charles Kellyman, second position, a Jamaican British driver out there at the moment for Optical Racing at the moment on a 106.8. Fastest time for him so far in the number 50. So he's definitely going to be searching for some good results, flicking through the Brooklands corner, which leads to this beautiful switchback, 180-degree right of Luffield, and you're always trying to get the power down as early as you can. A bit of understeer, though, for Charles struggling. McMullen goes fastest by 1/10 and a half ahead of Jose Gonzalez, so that certainly works in favour. Kellyman then over to the line, will not improve on lap time. Tom Daly has just gone second fastest, making it an Irish 1-2 at the top.
Yeah, pretty good lock down there at the top. Daly's going to be very happy with that as he pulls off to the side. Here is Sebastian Hine, driver who has not yet put a time down on the board. He's still got 5 minutes to go, so we should have plenty of time to do it. We'll have to see here what the German is able to do for Power Hall Sim Racing Academy, taking a wide exit there on the end of Maggots, bringing everything together. Now, as he comes down here into that Brooklyn section that you talked about, watch for a lot of too wide going down here into the race. Watch for a lot of very fierce fightbacks.
Exactly, and you're going to be seeing drivers trying to hold on as much as they can. A number of drivers haven't yet set a time, including James Austin, Tim Brink, who races absolutely wonderfully in terms of the disability in iRacing. You've got likes of Leon Vortas, Timo Paya hasn't set a lap time, and nor has Tony Williamson. Here is Sebastian Hain then over to the line. It's a 128.7, so that not a representative lap will not set a qualifying time. Will have to go from the back, ordered by iRacing out there overall. One thing about this qualifying session being 10 minutes long is it definitely staggers DJ, and that's going to be crucial. A driver like Eric Couradon, for example, who is out there in the number 99 car, has only done his second lap. It takes about, when all things said and done, it's in a 1:07 lap time average. So you're looking at your qualifying being over and done in 4 minutes. You have time to wait.
Yeah, you certainly do, and I think for a lot of drivers, they can maybe wait a little bit to see if that track temperature is going to raise ever so slightly. Well, the unfortunate thing is that's actually dropped a degree Fahrenheit, so I think some of these drivers that hoped to wait to get a little bit more temperature out there on the track, maybe get the tires up to temperature a little bit earlier, they may find themselves on a little bit of the back foot. But let's see what Eric has here for GTD Racing. He's going to cross over the line right now. That is going to be an improvement that'll bump him up to 20th.
Yeah, so he moves up to a 107.6. Sebastian Hain down into the pits out of qualifying laps. Tim Brink hasn't set a qualifying lap time yet, but he's got all his laps available, but he is going to run out of time by the end of qualifying because we are here, DJ, in a closed qualifying condition. 10 minutes, 3 laps. What does it mean to be in a closed qualifying session compared to an open qualifying session?
Well, there's a couple of key differences. The one is very, very apparent. That means that there is only one driver out on track at a time. And the glories of sim racing, you're all able to go out there, but the simulation will make sure that you are the only car out on track. It also means that at the end of the session, where we normally see the runoff, where you're able to complete your flying lap, that is not the case here in a closed qualifying session. When that clock hits 0, that means it is done. If you are on a hot lap, that lap is discounted. And that really does change the calculus here for a lot of these drivers as they work their way out there and try to put those good laps down.
Tim Brink then focusing forward, number 106. He has to race with the help out there of a physiotherapist to basically make sure that he can go through all the corners and get all the laps sorted. It's a Herculean effort he does every time to get out there and race, and we absolutely love to see it. And looking for the power, you can see moving over all the way to the right-hand side of the circuit. Now, one of the things we'll be looking at in terms of this Silverstone National circuit is not going to be necessarily about how drivers stay with the lines. There are no instant point limits here in this race, DJ, but with a track like this, you don't get instant point limits if you run 3 leagues off to the left when you've got yourself off outside of the white lines. It's one of the uniquenesses of this legacy circuit.
Yeah, it certainly is. And so that does mean that drivers are not going to have to worry about those track limits. And I think you're going to see a lot of different lines as a result of that. We're going to see a lot of drivers really, really pushing here and taking that car, taking the momentum of the car outside of the apex to the absolute limit as they push themselves around here. And so that's really going to change a lot of things for these drivers.
Tim Brink is not going to be able to get around, I wouldn't have thought, to get another lap in. It's going to be close, but I think he's going to be short by about 5 or 6 seconds out there. Nobody else out there on track. We'll stay with Tim Brink as we take this fantastic panoramic view around the back half of the circuit. Of course, this being the old layout that goes through before the brand new Silverstone layout, where this is effectively the run to turn 6 in the middle sector of the lap they're going through, just obscured by the BDRC building there, just in front. British Racers Driving Club there, one of the most important clubs out there in terms of grassroots motorsports in the United Kingdom. Through the long right then of Luffield, gonna need to get some drive off the exit, is most likely gonna get this over the line with a couple of seconds to go. So great hustle by Tim Brink, trying to get this one over to the line. 2, 1, and is that one going to count over the line? The answer is no. So let's take a look then at the qualifying times from everyone. It's an Irish front row because it's Damien McMullen and Tom Daly on the front row. Tom Daly last race was in Split 1, Division 1. He's now in Division 3. Jose Gonzalez will go from 3rd with Armanula Bacchus in 4th position. Charles Kellyman and Johan van Winden will start on row 3. Carl Winkop and David Mitchell house row 4 with Yannick Willems in 9th and David Geddes rounding out the top 10.
Starting off in 11th, it's going to be Tony Williamson, followed by Tim Lancaster with Yvonne Hoffler and John Turner in row 7. Row 8 is going to be Aleph Imran, followed by Stunana Yagadal there in 16th. Robert Vandenhoevel will be 17th, followed by Bruno Albino. Then it's Neil Armstrong and Michael Tangretta.
Tangretta there in 20th is going to look for some good work. So too will Eric Couradon and Arturo de Villa on row 11. Then it's Sam Nelson and Bill Jenkins. Shane Pettingill and Tyler Emery house row 13 with Jonathan Diggs and Tim Brink. All the other drivers didn't set times, which were Sebastian Hain, James Austin, Timo Paya and Leon Walters. They'll be all near the back of the field. Now, what is different then for this is that they will have a rolling start for this race. You can see the iRacing Porsche First safety car out there at the front of the field, which means that these drivers will get themselves the opportunity then just to run about and give themselves the opportunity just to stay patient on these early stages. They do have the 2 minutes to choose to grid themselves up. That gives them 30 seconds from this point to get up onto the grid. But these drivers all know that if you're within the front 4 rows, the one thing you don't want to do is put yourself in a position where you're risking the race in the opening couple of laps on cold tires, DJ.
No, you certainly don't. And the biggest thing here in running this old layout is the fact that the first corner is cops a very high lateral load being put through those tires. And so you have got to do everything you can do on this warm-up lap to get as much heat into those tires as possible and maximize your grip coming through that fast right-hander to open up the race.
And what you would say as well is that these drivers do need to work on warming their tyres, but there's also a flip side as well within the last 5 to 10 minutes of the race, and that's the tyre drop-off from tyre wear. If they're too aggressive here on this outlap trying to warm their tyres up, they're going to be in trouble in the last 5 minutes of the race when they've got no tyre left to work with.
Very, very true. Silverstone widely regarded as a highly abrasive surface, partially because of those high lateral loads that get put through the tires. So you're going to see, I think, drivers definitely being a little bit more cautious in the first stages of this race. I wouldn't expect to see a lot of late braking maneuvers, a lot of hyper aggression, as we like to say, on that opening couple of laps, as I think drivers are going to be watching out for those tires, hoping that they're going to be able to bring it to the end and maybe being able to attack in the final 5 minutes.
This is Tony Williamson in 11th position, so he will have work to do to run through. And about 10th or 11th is the worst place to be, DJ, on the grid sometimes you feel, because you often find yourself at the wrong end of the snap when the trains break up on the opening lap.
Yeah, very much so. You can find yourself behind, and the other big problem with that is, well, it's not quite as bad as oval racing necessarily, but you can find yourself right in the midst of a big coming together if we do have a couple of drivers that get it wrong.
Damien McMullen then has control of the field. The iRacing Porsche First safety car will dive off into the pit, and they will go at Damien McMullen's go of the green flag. So green flag in the air, we're underway. McMullen wanted to go early, 25 minutes then are on the clock. Division 3 is go, and immediately having to defend here from Tom Daly, who's trying to look on the outside. Breaks a little early, trying to get that run through. It's clean through the first 5, 6, 10 machines out there until there is an issue in the back that's just got and caught a couple through. Neil Armstrong's caught up in it, so too Neil Jenkins, and you can see in the back 2 or 3 in trouble, but on the inside for the race lead, Tom Daly in the 1P Motorsports car. We saw all of last year, DJ, in the SDC Championship, how good Tom Daly was. He finds himself now still having to race it all the way to Brooklands.
And he's going to be in a straight drag race here with Damian McMullen. I thought Jose Gonzalez was going to be able to get a little bit of a run, but that didn't play itself out down into Maggots. McMullen going to have the inside line a little bit later on the binders, diving down into Brooklands. And it looks like there the McMullen will be able to take a lead here on this opening lap. Daly taking a very, very wide entry there down into Luffield, just trying to maximize that corner exit.
Absolutely, you can have many differing lines when you reach Luffield corner, and so the ability to strike and the ability to get out there and attack off of different corners is going to be massive. 1 lap then in the books, big defensive efforts then further back through around David Geddes out there. Tim Lancaster is in there as well as Yvonne Hufelaar, who is out there trying to make a lot happen. I believe Hufelaar has actually just got through on the 2 teammates, so some great work going on. Here's the look then. Jose Gonzalez having to be a little bit defensive as well. Wide goes Damian McMullen, but expect him to try and use all of that surface off of the exit, try and get the power down a little bit earlier, use all of the road. The one caveat to doing that all of the time, DJ, is you're using more fuel.
Yeah, you certainly are, and you've got to watch out for that. You don't want to be burning through that fuel too quickly. As we said, a fixed series here, so it's not like drivers are able to adjust it, but you've got to be careful about it. We take a ride on board here with Charles Kellyman, looking behind Gonzalez right now, just trying to find that overlap. Little bit of a twitch there, just took too much curve.
Yeah, and that's going to be key. Charles Kellyman getting a big wake-up call on the cold tyres early then on lap 2, and is going to have to stay patient throughout this race. Now, there are some championship points available to drivers for certain results. Damian McMullen is one of them. He's got points for pole position, but Carl Wincott right now has got himself the fastest lap points out there in this race, DJ.
Yes, he does, and that's going to be crucial. We also know that there's some good speed coming from behind in that number 85 machine, so we'll have to be able to keep their way around right now as we continue to focus here on the 25 baton daily, as now it looks like Gonzalez checks his momentum a little bit there, coming out of Maggots. I'm not sure what that was all about, but I'll tell you what, Charles Kellyman saw that, and he's on the attack here.
He is. He's trying to work out which way do I go. Do I go left? Do I go right? I'm not close enough, so I'm going to have to go right and wait. Big send up the inside from him just behind. Armanula Bacchus deciding he was trying to get a little bit greedy and sensing that Charles Kellyman errs on the side of caution. That was a really aggressive move by the South African in positive Delta colours, and that is what you can sometimes get when you're trying to play the patience game here. Someone will be aggressive, they will make a move that often isn't on and try and go for it. Tom Daly will have 2 bonus points. Charles Kellyman now has the 2 bonus points for the fastest lap here. It is 2 bonus points here in Division 3, and it will also be in Division 2. There's more bonus points available in Division 1.
Yeah, it certainly will be, and watch for that number to keep falling down over the course of the race here today as fuel burns off of these MX5s. We ride on board with Tom Daly right now. Again, McMullen really using all of that runoff as much as possible to maximize his momentum. I really love here what McMullen is doing. He's doing a fantastic job of just not letting Daly affect him and racing his own race here at this point.
Exactly, and this is really nice, really clean driving here at the front of the field. Now notice about 6th and 7th position in this group, and this will help Tom Daly out massively because it's Carl Wincott and David Mitchell, 2 teammates for 1P Motorsport, and that could be big later on in the race when, if they can make some moves up through the field, gain a couple places, they might be there to help Tom Daly and be his, effectively, wingmen.
Well, one thing that we haven't talked about is Daly takes a look into the inside, coming up into Copse. He's going to have a little bit of a better run, and they're going to be side by side with McMullen as they come out of the corner. Jose Gonzalez wants a little bit of it as well. As they're going to come. Here they go.
Oh, he has to back out of it, though, as they hit the brakes at Maggots, and he's still got a little nose to the inside of McMullen, trying to get this move, and he's going to get himself a great drive off the exit, but they've opened up Charles Kellyman here, who goes to the outside, 3 wide on this back stretch. A fantastic group at this moment in time. You could say it's the top 14 into the shot of this lead battle at this stage. And Gonzalez, how close do you want to be on the brakes? He has to go out of it, and there's trouble behind. Off goes David Mitchell. The Scotsman is beached.
Oh no, as he finds himself out in the kitty litter, and that was all a result of the stack up coming from the fight up at the front of the field, that everybody else just checking their brakes a little bit, coming down into Brooklands, and I think unfortunately there that he was just the unlikely victim of that.
He was. John Turner as well. Another 1P car is in trouble as well. So it looks like 2 1P cars inside that top 15 have fallen into pitfalls. There is John Turner right now just trying to get back up to speed once again. This car, of course, this MX5, runs beautifully on iRacing's new damaged model, DJ. And that means that when you get yourself into a little bit of a smack, it does have a tendency for the suspension to break.
Yeah, it certainly does, and you've got to watch out for it. As we said earlier, you don't want to be taking that spare car here over the course of the race, as that is really and truly going to lead you into what is bound to be a race-ending pit stop, as now Damian McMullen looks around the outside there on Tom Daly going down into Brooklands, and he was starting to do something that I expect to see a little bit more as we continue to watch these races here, Jake. I think we're going to see some bump drafting here out of these MX-5s. It's a very effective strategy to get a little bit of extra speed.
And it's very easy to get it wrong if you're not experienced at that style of racing. You can very easily tag the wrong part of the bumper and find yourself in the wrong place. Now here is Tony Williamson. Just to make it more confusing, he's got Yannick Willems just in front, and he's just set the fast lap of the race, and he's got the bonus points. They're 2 wide for the race lead once again. We expect a lot of that 2 wide for the race lead, but look at Williamson's run here on Yannick Willems. He's going to get himself a really good chance. He'll have to go the long way around, but for the race lead, it's still Tom Daly who's out there in front. Clear of Willems is Williamson, so he gets it done. In fact, no, he doesn't, because that's Williamson who's just gone around in the background there. Contact with Willems.
Oh, and everything coming to blows there. We said Maggots was going to be an area of concern. As we jump back to check out the GSRC replay here, let's watch exactly what happens. Brings some great speed there, does Williamson, around the outside, going out of Copse. It's going to set him up for a drag race here into Maggots. He just comes down into the corner. He's able to get himself ahead. Is there a little bit of a fight back here, potentially? Yes, there was, and just miscommunication among the drivers.
Yeah, it's a case there where Williamson is following the natural flow of the land, and I think Yannick Willems was expecting him to just edge out a little more to the left-hand side of the circuit, and that's why you get that contact, and this front group finds themselves then a little bit more decimated. It was 15 earlier, it's now just 6 up at the front, and Charles Kellyman going for 5th place. He wants to, 4th place, he wants to get back the move then on Armanula Bacchus, the South African, and he is now going to take the inside line into Maggots, takes all of the track away. Bacchus has to get well out of the throttle, and that will bring Carl Wincott then straight then to the inside, and he is going to have a good opportunity. But on the early stage of power, look at where the train is. It's lisking over to the right. So in the initial phase of acceleration, DJ, you can see Armanula Bacchus gets half a car length just in draft.
Yeah, and that's a really great illustrator of just how powerful that draft can be, as Weinkamp has to really back it out a little bit more, tries to get his way in. Now he's going to bring his way down here through Luffield, trying to get a better run off of the corner. Here he goes. He's going to suck up right behind. I don't know if he's going to be close enough to get a move into Copse. That's a high aggressive corner to try to get it, but he's going to poke his nose to the outside nonetheless.
Yeah, he's going to have to try and make this move. It's going to be difficult to try and make this pass through. And you can see he gets on the brakes early because he's noticed how Armanula Bacchus is one of the late breakers. It's 3 wide in front for the race lead as well. And there's the up and under going on for 6th position. So it's all going to be going on. There's a bit of contact there as it's Damian McMullen who gets attacked from Jose Gonzalez. But Gonzalez now moves up to 2nd, who takes a power move over the outside curb. He wants the race lead.
He does indeed want the race lead, as here he comes, maybe having a little bit of a run here down the back straightaway. He's going to poke his nose to the inside, tries to be able to steal as much of a draft as possible off of Tom Daly. He's going to have the preferred line, but Daly's going to keep momentum around the outside.
He is, and that means inside for Luffield corner takes the line away. and holds on to the race lead for the time being. It does put the likes then of McMullen back into the picture then, and already we can tick off 10 minutes in this race, and we've only got 15 minutes left to try and dissect everything. Your biggest mover in the field right now is Timo Paya, who at this moment in time has just gone around.
Oh, and more spins here coming afoul for these drivers. Paya is going to have to regather himself back up, but I got to give credit here to Daly. Look at that gap that he's been able to grow. As there we take a look at the 104. Looks like that was just a little bit of an issue. Not sure if there was contact involved or not. Ooh, interesting line there for the 44 of Gonzalez, really cutting the corner as much as possible and trying to take the narrow line, and that's really going to help him.
I think it was more the case that Tom Daly just outbroke himself by about 10 metres, and all of a sudden he had to try and gather it back up. McMullen might decide to search, but we're not that desperate just yet. And then through the corner, they find themselves a semblance of organisation, and a door shut by Gonzalez on Damian McMullen. And all behind. There goes Kellyman. Round he goes. The Jamaican is not going to be happy about that. That's Carl Wincott into the back. Now, there is a stewarding system post-race, which is going to be worth a little bit of a look. That there for Wincott looked very clumsy. Didn't get the car slowed down.
No, he certainly did not, coming down into Lovefield and just ran into the back there of that machine, and so that's exactly what sent him around. Very, very heartbreaking there for Charles Kellyman, but now we've got to ride on board because we've got another wrinkle to be able to throw into this mix here, Jake. Yeah, that's a blown engine from lap traffic.
Oh, Sam Nelson, he's just spun in front of the field, and bang! In goes Yannick Willems in trouble. Jose Gonzalez is around as well. So huge dramas then. Gonzalez all on his own, too much of the grass on the inside, and he spins them up, and round he goes, which leaves two at the front of this field. But this is what we've been seeing here in Division 3. It is not necessarily the driver who is the fastest, but the driver who makes the least mistakes who picks up the victory.
Well, it's an age-old adage, but in order to finish first you must finish, and that's exactly what we're seeing here for these drivers. They have got to try to get to the end of this race. As you said there, with Gonzalez, just spun the rear tires up, coming down through maggots, and that was enough of a mistake to be able to send him around. You've got to be very, very careful on this circuit, as we actually have Yannick Willems down into pit lane. Looks like he's going to be taking his spare car.
Yep, certainly will. So that is going to be a shame then for Yannick out on circuit. He will drop miles down the field, having to take that pit stop. Right now, it's an Irish goodbye at the front of the field. 2.5 seconds the margin, and there is the pass from Alif Imran, the Malaysian, to Simar Garage SimSport, ahead of David Geddes, then making the place. Behind them is in 8th position Eric Couradon, the Frenchman, starting 21st and is up into 8th place. He is the biggest mover in the field as the race lead continues to get close. McMullen looking around the outside, trying to get some drive off of the exit. Not quite there just yet.
Not quite there yet, but he did have a look coming down the back straightaway, as well as we've got another driver off and into the grass. That's Carl Wincott. I wonder if he maybe picked up a little bit of damage from that running into with Charles Kellyman. Let's watch here as he comes down into Brooklands.
Well, through the left, trying to take all of the road possible. Now watch the back tyres. Steps out, tries to find the limit of grip, just overdrives it in and just runs out of that tyre grip, that slip that you have. And Wincott then, an unforced error because he was all on his own, and he gives up that 3rd place, which is big for Wampy and is big as well for Positive Delta. Armanula Bacchus will be very happy about that now, up into 3rd.
Yeah, that'll be able to gain him a position and be able to put him onto the podium here at this point. And he's got a pretty healthy breathing room behind him, about 1.5 seconds behind Yvonne Vandenberg. So that's going to be good running for the South African driver here. Sorry?
So Yvonne Hoefler is there in 4th position, and she's going to be trying to do her level best out there at the point. But, you know, you're looking at these drivers right now here, DJ, 4th, 5th, 6th. All of them started outside the top 10, and with Eric outside the top 20.
Yeah, certainly did, and it just goes to show you if you are able to keep your name or keep your nose clean around here, you're going to be able to gain up all these positions as more and more drivers are able to gain these spots. Abdullah up 10, Corridon up 15, Emery up 10, Hein up 11, and Vorders up 10 as well. Lots of drivers taking advantage of others' misfortune.
Now, this is what is clever by Damien McMullen right now. He is working with Tom Daly, knowing that these two would like to build a gap. If McMullen allows Tom Daly to build a gap up now and stays within that range, DJ, they have a free license to attack the final 5 minutes.
They certainly do. 4.5 seconds, the gap here to Amanullah Bacchus behind. That means that they are going to be able to just have some fun and really go at it here, and that's exactly what you're seeing Damien McMullen do right now, pushing that car, again, taking a wider entry down into Luffield, just trying to maximize that corner exit.
Yeah, and that exit is going to be huge out there at this point. How much of a drive can you get? How much can you fly forward in this race? Here comes the look then to the inside from McMullen at Copse Corner. And Copse Corner, in terms of a formula perspective, DJ, has been a big talking point over the last 2 years on what is and is not a good place to make an overtake and how to do it behind. That's Amanullah Bacchus in the grass, and he's going to save it just, but he's going to spin the car around.
Yes, he is, and he's going to lose a handful of positions as a result to it, down to about 12th position. He's going to get the car back and going, but I think he is going to be down outside of the top 20 right now as we take a look here at exactly what happened. And Jake certainly going to bring it out wide and catches a little bit of that AstroTurf.
Yeah, you got the different property there on the AstroTurf in terms of grip level compared to maybe somewhere else out there on circuit like the asphalt. And because of that, you get that difference in property, less grip, tyres more likely to slip, and bye-bye a podium right now. Hufala in third, and in fact, Hufala has just lost that third position because Hufala, you can see right in the back, that is Alif Imran there, the Malaysian, making the move then, jumping up into third, a gain of 12 places so far in this race.
A really, really impressive drive here from Imran to be able to move their way up through the field. But they're going to have to watch out here as Hufalar is still close behind in that draft range and will be able to attack. And they can't be too cautious here either, as David Geddes is going to be behind them within touching distance. So we're going to have a three-way battle here for the final place on the podium.
Don't count out Jose Gonzalez in the number 44 in 6th position, because Jose, we know, has a great turn of pace and on the recovery would definitely like to bring back some places. Well out of it goes Yvonne as she now tries to go through, and oh, Corridon's blown an engine.
Oh my goodness, that's not something I would have expected to see here today unless there was damage on that car. Clearly missed a shift coming down into Brooklands.
It's so easy to do. You're flicking through the gears. You're trying to get as much engine braking as possible at the heaviest braking zone on the circuit. And Eric Corridon, who once again was the hardest charger at that point in time in the race, has suddenly let that go. So who wants to be the hard charger, DJ, with 6 minutes, 40 seconds left?
Well, I'm sure plenty of drivers would like to get it, but it looks like they're throwing it away here at this point. These two drivers, though, on your screen, Daly and McMullen, they don't have to worry about hard charging. They just have to worry about fighting. The gap now growing to 7.5 seconds. It is a two-way race up for the lead of this race. McMullen trying to draft behind Daly. I'm getting the sense here that we may see a little bit of McMullen waiting for the final minute or so to really make the full-on attack here and try to save those tires as much as possible.
It's a short lap as well, and we have to say the magic L word here, DJ, lap traffic.
Yes, we do. We kind of hinted at it a little bit earlier, but it is going to come back to play here. And the biggest thing for Tom Daly is he's going to want to catch these cars on the straightaways, get a little bit of the draft off of those slower cars. He is not going to want to catch them through the twisty bits, as that's only going to serve to slow him down and give a little bit of an opportunity here for Damien McMullen, but that's Daly off.
Daly off, but Daly back on, gets away with one then, using all of the runoff at Copse Corner to try and maximise that lead. This is going to get very scary in front of them then, as with Tom Daly, spin right in front. That's Arturo Davila going around right in front of the leaders. Sam Nelson got out of the way, and Arturo Davila, the Spirit 14 car, well, we say a cat's got 9 lives, well, Arturo, I think, has got 14 of them.
I think he does as well. That didn't look good, but amazing to be able to do it. And here comes McMullen down to the inside of Brooklands. He's not going to be able to get the line. Daly runs wide. Here they come.
2 tyres in the gravel then from Tom Daly could have very easily have been trouble for Damien McMullen if he wasn't careful, and because he had to lift off slightly, that's where the gap is given at this point in time. But McMullen once again closing up to the 1P Motorsport car. Here comes the chance then down to the inside here at turn 1, and they do make contact at Cox. But it is just door-to-door contact, nothing more than that. Jose Gonzalez sets fastest lap and gets the 2 bonus points as they race for 3rd behind. Hufala has just moved through past Alif Imran to take that place.
Yes, they have, and they're going to hold on. They're about 0.2 of a second ahead. Looks like at the moment that our 2 leaders here, McMullen and Daly, aren't going to have to worry about lap traffic for the next about 6 seconds or so. Shane Pettingill may have had a little bit of an issue in front, but that's going to be the next lap car that they have to deal with 6 seconds up the road. There's a little bit of a look from Daly, but he's going to hold back here at this point, waiting for the perfect opportunity.
Absolutely will, and you sense with Tom Daly, he has been in winning positions before all of last year. He knows what it takes to win a race like this, and he's going to have to find the patience factor if he wants to try and find a victory here overall. This is going to be a big Division 3 run to go and try and make something happen. You've got Jose Gonzalez, you've got Alif Imran, you've got David Geddes as well in the group behind, trying to chase through against Yvonne Hufala, and she's looking to try and make some history as well as the first female driver to pick up a podium in any division out here in this series. 3 minutes, 22 seconds. Daly's going to have to play the patience game or find a slight slide mistake there from McMullen, and this is opening up the doors and chances. Everyone's trying to move through and make a small mistake happen, but here comes one Mr. Jose Gonzalez, who's proving he's got the pace because he went purple on the last lap, remember.
Absolutely remarkable here from Gonzalez. Remember, he was back down in 7th, 8th, 9th earlier in this race after that self-spin, and now he's going to be tucking up behind Hufala, going to try to have a look around the outside. No, he's now going to shut the door there on Geddes from behind. Imran also looking in, trying to be able to make a few moves here as they come down through Luffield, trying to get the launch off of the corner to maybe have an attack here into Copse. I think Hufala is going to have that covered, but I don't think, Gonzalez doesn't quite look like he's going to be able to get the speed.
No, doesn't quite have it, and knows with 2 minutes, 27 seconds to go, it's looking close. Round the outside of Copse Corner from Tom Daly. Now, he's going to have to do it again around the outside. Here's one of the uniquenesses of this circuit. There's only one left-hander out here on this track. That comes at Brooklands Corner, so if you're going around the outside, you're there for almost the entirety of the lap. On the outside is Tom Daly once again. Does he have overlap, or is there more drive from McMullen? The answer is more drive from McMullen, but here comes the side draft to bring him back level.
Brilliant move there from Daly to be able to tuck in on that side draft. He's now going to have the inside line going down into Brooklands. Later on, the binders closes the door on McMullen, slams it shut, and he's going to be able to hold on to that top position. McMullen having a little bit of a peek to the inside through Brooklands, or through Luffield, but that's not going to play.
Like trying to play the scare tactics vision, get as large in the mirrors as possible. They will have 2 laps to figure this out between them. They know that race going on behind them in 3rd position is a long ways away, and for Tom Daly and Damien McMullen, as long as these 2 don't come together and ruin each other's races, that this is going to be an Irish winner here in Division 3. Daly holding the margin fantastically. It's side by side for 3rd, it was into the opening corner, so it's getting very dicey for 3rd on back. In fact, they're all blocking each other for 3rd on back. Geddes was almost forced straight off the road by Gonzalez, who was trying to get through Hufala, who had nothing, and then Alif Imran nearly picks up 2 places, but only gets the 1.
Only gets the one. Gonzalez trying to have another run here at Hufelar as they come down out of Maggots right now. That's Geddes taking the very wide line around the outside. Imran trying to see what they are able to do. Everybody slicing and dicing.
Oh, Daly's off! Daly's off, he runs slightly wide, and that's going to allow McMullen then to go to the outside. This is brilliant stuff. They're pushing each other to 105%, and neither of them are able to make a decisive move as we head to the white flag.
White flag in the air for these drivers. They're going to get their way on by Pettingill there. They're going to have a little bit of lap traffic in the form of Tim Brink, and I think that's going to slow down McMullen a little bit. He had to compromise his entrance into Copse. Could that be the decision?
It could be. Shane Pettingill was not going to be the easiest decision to get by. Tom Daly doing enough. Which way do you go? Tim Brink doesn't know which way to go. Tom Daly didn't coordinate it properly, and that opens the door up then for McMullen to try and get back. He's going to get drive off of the exit there. Nothing Tim Brink could do. Tom Daly was in the middle of the road trying to find a way to get this sorted, but now here comes the chance then. Damien McMullen, you're going to have to do it now, or you're going to have to do it never. It's covered on the inside then by Tom Daly, who can break later. It's later from Tom Daly, but he's been wide a couple times here. Slides it through the corner. He's okay for the moment, but at Luffield, has he got it covered on the inside? Yes, he does. Damien McMullen's thrown everything at it, but Tom Daly proves that he is of sterner stuff as he will now drive to the line. It's a short run after Woodcote Corner and will win in Division 3 ahead of Damien McMullen, as close can get. In the race for third, Jose Gonzalez is going to break Hufelar Hearts on the final lap and move into third.
Absolutely brilliant recovery drive here from Jose Gonzalez. As there we look a little bit farther back down in the field. This is Van Winden perfectly parallel side by side as they cross over the line. My goodness.
That is Van Winden's get, and 12 thousandths of a second, the difference maker then over towards the line. Brilliant stuff through the field. We'll have 20 finishers on the leading lap when all is said and done, but there is your winner, Tom Daly. Absolutely fantastic stuff, and it was two Irishmen throwing everything that they had at each other, saying this is what great racing is, and we're only in Division 3 and there's 2 more races to come along after this. So some brilliant stuff that goes through. Let's get confirmation of results then here from this Division 3 outfit at Silverstone National Legacy. It is number 25, Tom Daly, in 25 minutes and 48 seconds, who wins by 0.08 of a second, all said and told, from Damien McMullen, the pole sitter. Jose Gonzalez will take third, but he had an up and down day, having to make the pass on Yvonne Hufelar in the final stage of the race. David Geddes would finish 5th ahead of Alif Imran in 6th position. Charles Kellyman would respond and recover back to 7th, with Johan van Winden in 8th, stealing it away from Tony Williamson in 9th. And get this from Bruno Albedo, a great drive from him up 8 places, rounds out the top 10.
Coming home in 11th place, it was John Turner, followed by Carl Wincop. Remember, he had that incident that put him down in the field, and also with Amanullah Bacchus and David Mitchell. Robert Vandenheuvel was 15th, followed by Tyler Emery, with Sebastian Hine having a good recovery there after not being able to put in a time. He was the hard charger of the race, indeed. Up a handful of positions there, up 12, actually. Jurgedal will be 18th, followed by Neil Armstrong, and Timo Paya will be P20.
You now hit the drivers who are a lap down or worse. Shane Pettingill, Leon Vorters, Michael Tanner-Greta, a lap down. Eric Couradon, for the longest time, had the opportunity for that. Didn't quite manage to bring everything together. Jonathan Diggs, 2 laps down, along with Arturo de Villa, Tim Lancaster. And then 3 laps down, Tim Brink, we saw on the final lap. Sam Nelson, 4 laps down. Bill Jenkins, 5 laps down. And Yannick Willems, not finding a finish. James Austin, not finding a start to today's race here at Silverstone National. But we are going to step aside here for just one moment with the Global Sim Racing Channel. We'll get fallout then of Division number 3 and head over to Division 2 action. Well, if one thing is for certain, we understand that Silverstone National is a brilliant circuit to race at. We saw a beautiful battle from the top of the field to the bottom of the field. A walk down the virtual paddock has DJ Clark down with Damien McMullen.
Damien, an absolutely epic battle between yourself and Tom Daly. Talk me through that. Talk me through what it was like to be just looking like it was duking it out lap after lap.
Oh, it was absolutely brilliant. Like, it was, 25 minutes off. Madness, as I call it, and very, very clean driving. And credit to Tom Watt drive. Well done to his win and everything. I'm just delighted just to get up to the top three.
Well, speaking of that top three, it looked like it was a little bit of a battle of attrition there, especially in the early going of the race. How were you able to manage and keep the car under you where so many others had problems?
You just practice, and you have to remember with the MX5s, like the tires, you normally take 3 laps to warm up, and just a lot of practice to get used to that kind of slidiness. And you know, if you're understeer or oversteer, it's going to catch you out. So a lot of practice helps out, and it kind of paid off tonight.
Well, next round, we head over to the recently new free-to-race circuit of VIR. You looking forward to that one, or is that going to be a little bit of a wild card for you?
Definitely a wild card, even going to the roller coaster and everything. Yeah, it's just, you have to do that practice. But look, we see what happens on that day.
Well, we wish you all the luck in the world when you get there, Damien. Anybody you'd like to thank for this second place here tonight?
I just want to thank all my friends and my family, and to my sponsors, Fleet.ie and Potato Nation, for helping me out fun for this series. So thanks to everyone, and see you next week, or not next week, in a month.
We will see you then. That was Damien McMullen, your second place driver from Division number 3.
Brilliant result there from him, and we saw some amazing racing. Division 2, though, is in play, and we talk about how condensed and how close a division is, DJ, and what that means in terms of raw numbers. We were talking about it just before we came on air for the entire show. The difference between being in Split 1 and Split 3 was half a second.
Absolutely remarkable. It just goes to show you the class of this field. And let's look at the qualifying times that we have on the board right now. First and 35th, Jake, only separated by 1.2 seconds. These drivers are so evenly matched out on track.
They really are, and it's really proof of the pudding. Osman Aslan set for Luff Apex Racing, currently 7th fastest at the moment, looking to try and make a drive, and over the line they go, just behind a driver who in 6th position overall was the driver who had the fastest lap in Division 3 at the opening round at Okayama in Mitchell Costas. So certainly very quick, but it's Eugenio Pulici who is out there at the top, with Ewan Bramer in 2nd and Odise Adams Jr. in 3rd position at the moment. A minute 40 left on the clock. Not as many drivers out there who can set a lap time, if any. In fact, everybody is done with their qualifying laps, so nobody is going to be able to improve here, DJ, from this point onwards, which means that is the grid and how it stacks up for Division 2.
Yeah, it certainly is. And what these drivers are doing here at this point is, well, they're frankly doing a little bit of what you heard Damien talk about, just running out here, trying to get that last little bit of practice and really build the rhythm around this Silverstone circuit. Make sure that they are absolutely feeling it, so that when the green flag flies, it's going to be just like riding a bike, that they're able to get back up into it and have no real problems to continue on. As we watch the 33 just continuing to set those laps, doing a good job, just feeling that rhythm, feeling that flow around this circuit.
I'll tell you what, his car makes me very, very hungry with the Doritos sponsorship on the side. I'll say that much right here. But what we can say, though, is that these drivers know what they need to do, and it's not the end of the world if it goes wrong for them, DJ. They do have those 3 drop rounds over the course of the season, and these drivers, if you can find a finish here in Division 2, P41, or effectively P1 to P10, if you can get a top 10 here, you're in the hunt for the top 40.
Yeah, you certainly are, and that is going to be a huge thing that these drivers are going to be working for. I expect there to be a lot of squabbling around that 10th place position. Right now, it's currently Renee Zegelar in 9th, Alexander Longo in 10th, and Patrick Alders in 11th. So I think that's going to be one of the real hot spots for battles.
Let's get a look then at how everyone stacks up. Eugenio Pulici, a 106.155, the fastest time in qualifying, with Ewan Bremer alongside for the ride. Adise Adams Jr. goes from third with Laurent Sebastian in fourth position. He was fantastic last time out. Javier Sequendes goes from fifth with Mitchell Costas in sixth. Osman Aslan Set starts seventh with Miles Owens in eighth, and Miles Owens, a driver who is very, very familiar because he won last time out. Rene Zegelar will start from ninth, and Alexandre Longo rounds out the top 10.
In 11th place, it's going to be Patrick Alders, followed by Peter Reed in 12th. Carl Jacquelet will be 13th with Michael Ellett, a familiar name to his outside. Patrick Cantrell will be in the inside of row 8 with Brett Bride flanking him. Then it's Willem van Rassel in 17th and Callie Rantanen in 18th. Christian Hinch will be in 19th, and Luis Suarez will round out your top 20.
I will correct myself. Miles Owens was on the podium, not necessarily a victory last time we were racing. Stephen Orrell will go from 21st with Sophie Eronwyn in 22nd. James Austin was having a little look at Division 3. He will start from 23rd with Jameson Sampaio. I'm surprised to see him down here in 24th position. He is rapid on his day. Martin Schmidt and Melvin Tyne will have row 13 with Matt Tempest and Edward Gross in 28th position overall. Sandavara will start 29th, and Alvaro Rodriguez will round out the top 30, and just 6 left from that point onwards. Connor Hope, Nicholas Norwood, Simon Robson, Mackenzie Mann, Riyad Yasmin, and Kay Poulison unable to set a time in the 1:16 machine outright and overall. But these drivers know how important this division is. They will once again have 25 minutes on the clock, and once more conditions are going to be exactly identical for these drivers as they go through. This is exactly the same setup as Division 3, exactly the same temperatures and track conditions, and of course with a fixed sunshine as well at 7:35 in the morning. Very early wake-up call here around Silverstone for all the residents of Northamptonshire. This is going to be a case of, well, wake up sunshine, you've got to get going quick.
You've got to get going quick, but remember what we've been talking about. You don't want to over-push those tires until about lap 2 or 3. You need to wait for the proper amount of heat to be put into the rubber out here, because if you try to push a little bit too early, you're going to find yourself losing grip and getting into some of those big incidents that we saw early on in Division 3.
Yeah, you absolutely will. And Division 3 was a very, very crucial battle out there. So you've got to be alert to how things go. These drivers are going to want it a little bit more and are going to feel through. If you get yourself on the Dunning-Kruger curve, you've effectively just been pushed off of I know everything. You're down in the I don't know very much, and you'll get some drivers who are starting to climb back up that ladder again. It's going to be a very interesting race here that we've got at Silverstone. But Pulici has control of the field. He can decide when he wants to go as the iRacing first safety car has dived down into the pits. Green flag in the air. Let's get ourselves underway. We're racing here from Silverstone. A long wait by Pulici allows everyone to close up, and immediately everybody starts fanning out all the way to the pit wall. Some go trying to get the move through. Oh, a big shove going through by Laurent Sebastian, and he's going to go around, and now we're going to get dramas everywhere. DC Adams gone.
That's Adams gone, Cert gone, and that's going to leave up at the front of the field only Bremer and Pulici really battling for it, as several of our top 10 there taken out over the course of that and still trying to be able to get their way back out on track. I see some smoking cars behind. I don't think anybody's terminally damaged, but not the best opening couple of corners.
No, not at all, and there's still more dramas then at turn 3 over at Maggots Corner, so dramas everywhere you look. 3 wide as they go through now the 3rd position outright at the moment. There have been some drivers who've made a great start. Carl Jacquelet started 13th, he's 3rd.
Absolutely remarkable there for the number 63, gaining his way up through the field. You'll love to see that for Jacquelet, but we got to talk about this breakaway that may be starting to form here with Bremer and Pulici. They've got about an 0.8 of a second gap between themselves and Jacquelet. Jacquelet's got to watch out for that. He cannot let that get a lot longer.
No, he certainly can't at this stage. Bremer leads the race. Pellicci in second. Jacquelet in third is going to try and hold on. It's side by side for fourth as Laurent Sebastian deals with Miles Owens. Those two, of course, were on the podium last time out at Okayama. It was Sebastian in second. It was Miles Owens in third. And now, on the outside, trying to get back through is Mitchell Costers, who was in Division 3 at Okayama and now in Division 2, showing that he can definitely race with those in Division 2.
And it looks like we've had another coming together behind Stephen Orrell and Christian Hendich. They're looking like they had a little bit of a problem. We focus back down through the field here on the number 96. There you can see those drivers having that little bit of problem. That is Orrell in the number 69 that is able to get his way back around, but certainly having a little bit of trouble. Side by side, farther up in the pack, this is Mitchell Costers.
It is. Costers on the outside. On the inside is Laurent Sebastian trying to find the pass then. It is Dutch versus Dutch at the moment, so get your skipping rope out. It's double Dutch, and at this point in time, Mitchell Costers will hold the place for the moment. Now, these two have to be careful because they might bring Longo into play. They might bring Michael Ellett in, and now the fastest laps start to get tallied up, which once again is worth 2 championship points, all things considered. And you talk about 180 points for split one victory, DJ, and you say 2 points. Well, how good is 2 points? 2 points for these drivers means the world.
It certainly does. Any points for these drivers is something they're going to want to fight for, as that looked to be the number 47, or excuse me, the 41 of Sebastian having a little bit of a run in there. That's going to push a few drivers off wide as we see that real gaggle starting to form there for the P4 battle. But they are absolutely going to scramble for any point they can get because you never know what it's going to come down to at the end of the season.
Oh no, you really don't. And we're talking about a season as well, which is all year long. They race a regular season all the way till November before that world final is calculated and everybody works out, okay, where do you need to be? And there are going to be some drivers out there, DJ, who are looking at this race going, well, we haven't even set foot in the first 2 races of the championship and we might be title contenders.
Yeah, that's just the way that this shakes itself out, as we're going to go back to check out a replay here. Now, this is of the restart, and Jake, you talked about this. Pellicci took a very, very long time getting this field up to speed, and it really came back to bite him. I think that's why he lost the lead in the first place.
Yeah, watch Sequendez then in 5th position on the inside. It's Sequendez who is going to bring everything together, and he's going to look for the inside. He's going to try and get through 3 wide into turn 1, lap 1. Doesn't get the turn. There's the initial contact. It then brings the second group around who have to merge to try and get away. Bam, there's the second tap as Sebastian tries to get out of the way. And at that point, Adise Adams is a passenger, and he's going to feel very hard done by.
Yeah, he's going to feel very hard done by. He did absolutely nothing wrong there. Sequendez down to his inside. The contact there around the outside. He was just trying to get through the corner and not have too much of an issue befall him. But I've got to give some credit here to Jacquelet in the number 63. Remember we said he needed to close that gap down. Well, he's done just that, Jake. He has pulled away from Miles Owens here at this point, and he has made this a 3-car fight up the front of the field.
And Ewan Bremer is now having to defend at the front of this group, so is very much going to be looking behind is the Dutchman to the Italian and the Brit, thinking that this is not quite what I want to be dealing with here on lap 3. But Carl Jacquelet has this sort of experience, DJ. He's been the sort of driver who has been racing around with the UK sim racers, with British sim racing.
Around.
Oh, there he goes, just like that, straight away, spin, and there's the trouble you got, and he almost gets collected there by someone else. Who was that was almost getting caught up in it? That was Patrick Alders.
Yes, it was. I'm not sure if he was on the racing line there at that point or if Alders just had a little bit of incident fixation, but this is the same issue that we saw befalling quite a few drivers in Division 3 down into Maggots. Just carries a little bit too much speed. You see that right tire cock up into the air, and that's going to be enough to throw him around. Now, he is on the racing line here as he tries to get himself back going around, and that was a separate incident there for Alders.
Yeah, absolutely was, and that was massive in terms of what they wanted from the race and how they go through. Mitchell Costers sets fastest lap then as they go through. Now watch Ewan Bremer, because Pellicci's through. Oh, hello, let's have a nice little look at Gearbox for a moment, because he was pushing through turn 1 Cox corner, and he's going to lift out of it then, heading towards turn 3 over at Maggot. But the key is they were trying to bump draft to break away. They're not getting as much cooperation as they want together. The chemistry's not there. Miles Owens now and Mitchell Costers. It's a 4-car train at the front.
And that's the thing about bump drafting. You have to have complete and total faith in the driver that is giving you the bump, and if you are the driver bumping, you have got to have complete and total faith in the driver you are giving the bump to. If you've got the slightest bit of miscommunication, it will throw you off and throw you into the wall. It didn't look like Pellicci and Bremer necessarily had that locked up, and as a result, Owens and Costers now on the back of this train.
They absolutely are, and this is going to be a crucial moment for them. Will they play nice together, or will they play nasty? Because they've got a massive gap. They've got about 4 seconds going through. One driver into the pits. That's Laurent Sebastian, then, who's going to have to take a pit stop, and with damage that is going to be not necessarily the black and orange mechanical flag there. So that then is just, I think I got too much damage to drive the car properly, and I will come in and make a stop and go through. That could also be something as simple as I forgot to put enough fuel in the car for the race.
Yeah, it certainly could be any of those things. Although, considering the contact that we saw Sebastian having a little bit earlier in the race, I've got to think that it is damage related and that he's coming in here at this 7.5 minute mark to get a spare car.
Yeah, that certainly does seem to be the case then, as they look the top 4 through Brooklands corner, and they will be well behaved right now as they run through a little search to the outside for Bremer at this point. Now watch out for Bremer and Owens at this stage in time. These two teammates out then at this moment. We take a look from 4th position, and Mitchell Costers out then at this point. The 2 platinum cars in the middle. This is a very funky sandwich we got going on into Cops.
Yeah, it certainly is, but those platinum cars are going to separate a little bit going down into Cops, and that's going to rule out any chance of the bump draft here. Those are the 2 that I would watch for, as now here comes Costers and here comes Bremer, both thinking about a move here going down into Maggots.
Thinking about it, Costers can't outbrake then Miles Owens, and Owens comfortably will hold on to position. Now, you see how much room they have on the outside that they can go and work. This is one of the unique things that you've got. The newer version of Silverstone, it's a lot tighter. You've got less room to go for, and not necessarily wanting to go all the way out wide. But here on this national layout, effectively you're driving down, because this is an old airfield, you're driving down an airstrip trying to find an overtake.
Yeah, you certainly are, and that just allows you to carry more of that speed around the outside, and that's really going to help these drivers to be able to carry as much as they can. But right now with Pellicci, Bremer, Owens, Costers losing a little bit of time here. I'm waiting to see Bremer and Owens really start working together, maybe trying to use a little bit of double slipstream here to be able to get by Pellicci. Use your teammate to your advantage. That's what these 2 need to start doing.
They absolutely do. The 2 biggest, or there are 3 drivers I want to keep a focus on right now. Melvin Tyne up 16, Matt Tempest up 16 as there's a look for the race lead that's not going to happen. And Simon Robson up 19 places already in this race. The hard charger battle is looking really interesting in and around the top 10.
Yeah, it is, and once again, we're seeing a lot of these drivers just taking advantage of others' misfortune. We've got about 4 or 5 drivers here that are down a lap, courtesy of that opening lap incidents, as the 75 here for Robson up 19. He was able to take a lot of advantage of that and just keep his nose clean and put himself into good position.
Oh, that's happened. That is Alexandre Longo losing the place to Michael Ellett in the Positive Delta Motorsport machine. So GTD Racing is going to have to do a little bit of work. It's going to look behind, and the train is there. Peter Reed, Patrick Cantrell is in there as well in 8th position. He's having a really good race at this moment in time. And this secondary group right now are thinking about their race for a top 5 finish here. They're not going to be thinking about that group of 4 out front. They've checked out. They've flown the coop. So they're going to be amongst themselves now trying to find their race.
Yeah, and that can be a little bit of a hard thing for a racing driver to do, to sort of be settling for a position here at this point, especially as early on in the race as we are. But having those other drivers, that's a little bit hairy there. Longo not looking the best here. That's the 2nd or 3rd mistake we've seen him make in just as many laps.
Very nearly took the rear completely off of the Michael Ellett number 71. That could have been disaster waiting to happen there, but fortunately enough, with so much runoff room, that's great. Rene Zegelar now is going to be looking behind, because Melvin Tyne is now going to try and find the overtake, and it's going to go the long way around in the number 53. Oh, hats off to that. That's just marvelous.
That is just a driver completely in touch with his car. He knew he could get speed there around the outside of Brooklands and just absolutely stuck it out. Fantastic stuff.
And now for the race lead, it starts to get interesting because Eugenio Pulici all of a sudden is getting himself into position. And in fact, with Ewan Bramer, he's on through. But now, are you going to get the Platinum cars working together? The big bump comes along, but they're going to have Mitchell Costas in the mix here. They're going to have to try and be careful about how they go through. You couldn't get much closer than that. And now, forcing the way through. Get your crowbar out. Get your crowbar out. Miles Owens, Platinum 1-2.
Absolutely remarkable. Miles Owens not to be denied there. Costers has to be said kind of the big loser there in all of that outside of Pulici. Pulici's not going to be close enough to be able to get a counterattack here down into Brooklands. No, maybe he is. He was very, very late on the brakes there, using the curbing to his advantage to try to rotate the car. Now trying to take it the outside way around. That's not going to work. Looking for the over-under here as Costers. He's going to try to get that to play. And here we go now, a battle for the final podium position.
Yeah, Mitchell Costas, a driver who everyone turned around after the first round of the championship and went, what are you doing in Division 3? Showing a bit more truer pace. This time, a little look to the inside. If you're not defending, you're attacking in this series. And Eugenio Pulici knows that. And it's going to go through here. Miles Owens doing his job fantastically. The gap out then to just about a second, but not enough to get the clearance. You need 1.5 to be truly clear. And now Costas will have the inside then, moving towards Maggot's corner and gets the pass sorted. Then going through. Oh, tap on the back. How have you saved that? There was a full case of opposite lock for Mitchell Costas. He's still got a car.
He's still got a car, and he's still got it pointed the right way. That was incredibly close, and we're going to be incredibly close here now with Costas and with Mitchell Owens. Miles Owens, excuse me, very late on the binders there, though, as Costas. Is he going to overrun the corner a little bit? Yes, he is. Catches a little bit of the kitty litter, and Owens says, thank you very much. I will take P3 away.
Yeah, they can't afford to drop Eugenio Pulici. Pulici is an incredibly accomplished Italian driver out there. Someone's in trouble there, and I think that's René Zegelaar, and it is for iRacing Nederland. So he now falls backwards outside of the top 10 and down into 15th position. So for Zegelaar, he finds himself in trouble. We'll catch this on the Global SimRacing Channel replay.
And I'm wondering here if this is just another solo spin as he brings the car down into Brooklands, the number 70. Catches a little bit of the curbing. He caught those sausage curbs on the inside, and that was just enough to upset the car just a little bit to send him spinning around.
DJ, they call it anti-cut for a reason. When will drivers learn?
Never, because they're always going to want to have that advantage if they can. They're always going to push for it as massively as possible.
They absolutely are, and I'm sure they're going to be putting everything they possibly can into it at the moment. 10 minutes, 50 seconds remaining, and the front four start to get a little bit stretched out at this moment, and they need to really work on that pace. And this is where the true pace is going to come in at 6/10, 7/10 of a second, because it's a lot tougher to close down than when you're at 2/10, 3/10 of a second behind someone.
Yeah, and that's really as a result of the draft. When you're close enough under about that 0.5 of a second mark, that's really where you're going to feel those maximum effect of the draft. Now, they're going to be feeling it up to about 7, 8, even a full second worth around this track. But in order to be close enough to make a move, you need to have that number tickling down under 0.5 of a second.
You absolutely do, and this second group isn't a million miles away. Alexandre Longo has been putting some great laps together with Michael Elliott and Patrick Cantrell to get close enough then to that group, and now they'll have a bit of lap traffic to act effectively as a latch to try and get closer, and that's Sandavara who has run into trouble so far in this race, trying to get back into position. So there's definitely that sort of chance to say, well, here's it going on. It's going on for third place. That will also help the fact that Mitchell Costas is now going to be dealing with Miles Owens, and for the race lead it's on as well, because here comes the look to the inside. Ewan Bramer holding it the long way around. Oh, this gives you some memories of some classic British touring car action. It's got that sort of old school feel to it here tonight.
It certainly does. Just holding that inside line was Ewan Bremer. Just holding it down, making sure, especially that Pulici wasn't going to be able to get the crossover coming down out of Luffield. Now he's going to have a little bit of a look here coming down into Copse, thinks about it, backs out of it. I think he's waiting for the opportune moment. He knows he's got a little bit of time between himself and Miles Owens, and now he's got it. He's got the run out of Copse. Here he comes down into Maggots.
Yeah, he's got the line, he's got the inside, but Ewan Bramer can be very cheeky. If he's late enough to the turn, he might get some great drive through the middle of the corner because he can put the power down earlier, and that's exactly what he does. going around the long way to half a car length to dead even by the time they reach the point of power. They're only going 165 kilometers an hour right now, and they know that they're racing for that braking zone. And look at that! Ewan Bramer deciding he wants to be brave. They cross the beams into Brooklands corner. You can tell they're in the final 10 minutes of this race because suddenly the Platinum cars are closing up in. Miles Owens was behind by a second at the start of this lap to Eugenio Pellicci, and now he's on the back.
Now he's all over the back and indeed tried to have a little bit of a look there going down into Luffield, but it looks like it's going to be advantage Pellicci as they come out of Woodcut right now, trying to see if he's going to be able to go. He wants the move going down into Copse. He's going to pull to the inside there of Bremer. It's going to have to be a gutsy move to make this work. Behind him, Costers does the same thing. Oh my goodness.
Mitchell Costers, you cannot count out of a race. Too deep from Pellicci. It brings Ewan Bramer back to the inside then for turn 3. On the brakes they go. Very late. Beautiful braking by Eugenio Pellicci. And that Italian flair and style and poise that is there means that he has the race lead, but only for the moment. And they are starting to battle in such a way that Longo is only 3 seconds back. Now 2.7. Here comes the look from Costers. He wants a second platinum car this lap. He wants to go multi-platinum at this stage, but he won't get it just yet because he's still got to go the long way at Luffield.
Yeah, and there he is, just trying to diamond off the corner a little bit, but good defense there from Bremer once again to be able to hold that down. But once again, that is going to come at the expense of a good run off of the corner. We've already seen what Costers can do going down into Copse. He's now going to have a look around the outside as Bremer goes defensive down into the first corner. Who is going to be able to take this? It's going to be side by side into the braking zone for Copse. It looks like Bremer's got the slight advantage, but his momentum going to come back here for Costers.
It might do, but it also might come along for Miles Owens, who looks to try and thread the gap in the middle. There's no room. Lifts out of it then, and then it is going to be Costers trying to get that drive through the right. They can't afford to stay too wide much longer. They'll lose contact with Eugenio Pellicci, who is thinking that, okay, well, at this point, it's not often that you say it, but Mitchell Costers and Ewan Bramer might both be his Valentines at this point with the way that they've been battling and allowing him to break.
Well, and I love what Pellicci is doing. I've seen him do this the last 2 times coming out of Maggots. He has kept that car over on the far left of the circuit as long as possible to try to break the draft a little bit to Costers, Owens, and Bremer behind him. It's a very, very heads-up move from Pellicci, and it clearly goes to show that he is not just thinking about leading this race, he's thinking about winning it.
Absolutely. I do want to go back in the field. I want to talk about Jameson Sampaio for a moment, the number 20 machine, because it's not often that you get this. His son isn't here, but it's one of the unique father-son combinations in racing. The 2 Sampaios, Jameson the father, Enzo the son. It's not often you get to see that, but in sim racing, it's one of the beautiful things.
Yeah, it really is. It's such a lovely thing when you're able to have that sort of family affair here, something that you can do with your progeny and be able to share across the family. It's great. That's a very wide run there for Owens. And that may open up a little bit of a door. He's going to be able to keep momentum going around as they now continue their way down. Pellicci pulling a little bit of a gap, about 6/5 of a second here over Costers, but Costers, certainly we know the speed that he has.
We absolutely do. Wasn't able to take the win. He had a mistake at Okayama in Division 3, but set the fastest lap, got all the way back to position 5, I believe it was, by the end of the race. So certainly has a turn of cadence, which makes him a threat in any race. What I will say as well, Miles Owens at this point here, DJ, on course for back-to-back podiums in Division 2.
And we talk about that championship. We talk about those points at the end of the year. That is a huge thing. If you are able to just keep podiums, keep it all together, that is going to be the way to get yourself up into that championship conversation. That's Brett Ride around in multiple cars.
And that might be Sampaio, who's just got into the side there. So a massive, massive shunt has gone through. What happened to Brett Ride and what happened behind him is going to be the real question. You can see here a real scrap then going through on the outside, looking to try and get that run at 3 wide. Beats the first, and by the time he gets to the second, runs out of grip. There's another Wumpy car that's off there, so it looks like it's a Wumpy party down there over at Brooklands and Luffield. And then there's a secondary accident there, and that is as unfortunate as it gets.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I wonder for Brett Ride there if there was a little bit of incident fixation. Sometimes as a driver, when you see that car spun off on the side of the track, it breaks your focus, kind of distracts your eye line and keeps you off of what you need to do, which is keeping the car under control. And especially at a very tricky portion like that coming out of Brooklands, I think that could be exactly what happened to him.
It is exactly what could go wrong. So they are going to be in a position right now where they are trying to do everything that they possibly can. I am just getting word that there might be a bit of a hold between Division 2 and Division 1. A couple of server issues on the end of us. So we'll just keep an eye out on that as that goes through and get you more word as and when it comes. But at least at this moment in time, Eugenio Pulici leads this race. It's Mitchell Costas in second, Miles Owens third, Ewan Bramer in fourth. Here comes the look to Miles Owens. He wants the inside.
He wants the inside is there. I think Costers recognizes that and counters by going as wide as humanly possible to try to take that car around the outside and carry momentum through Brooklands. He's going to have it, and he's going to have that crucial inside line going down now into Luffield.
Yeah, and that's big because Costas is still going to hold on. Pulici has been fantastic, though, in this race. Every time, second, third, and fourth, try to work to get a move. They hold each other up, and it gives Pulici a free buffer margin. And it's not much of one, but it's enough. But now here comes the looks. They're starting to get desperate now into the final stages of this race, as then into turn one, Copse Corner. There's going to be no dice as they go through. They've got to catch up to Pulici first.
Yeah, and I think that's got to be in the forefront of your mind, but Miles Owens has no intention of waiting around there as he's now going to look to the inside of going down into Maggots. He's going to hold the line. That's going to be Costers trying to carry a little bit more around the outside. Here they go, and it's going to be a straight drag race here coming down the back straightaway.
They absolutely are going to have that drag race. 2 minutes now will clock onto the clock at this stage. But now Mitchell Costas then on that inside again, covers it off. Does he have it slowed up at the apex? You bet he does. And now he's just got to go. But now on the brakes, let's get all the tactics in. Number 42, Miles Owens. I'm pretty sure he doesn't want back-to-back thirds. That's definitely not on his cards. He wants to improve race on race, not stay stagnant.
No, he wants to try to gain that position here, and now we're going to see what the team tactics are, if they have already thrown the hat behind Miles Owens to be able to get a good point, or if he and Bremer are going to be able to fight here in the final 2 laps. Hopefully those two will be able to work together and maybe be able to get a 1-2 before everything's said and done.
Well, they've got to work together, but Mitchell Costas isn't waiting around. He is certainly driving with the bit between his teeth, with a couple of popsicle sticks in the air here in Towcester, here at Silverstone. Trying to get it done on the inside. Pulici will use the outside, run off the circuit and get himself the drive that he wants to go through. But it's only going to be helping the likes of Miles Owens. Welcome to the freight train, my friend. Here comes the chance. He's going to box himself in. He's going to try and push himself through. Runs out of road. He gets boxed. Miles Owens nowhere to go.
Absolutely nowhere to go. He's going to have to fall back in order there, but luckily he's able to hold on to good position. He's going to have a little bit of a look to the outside there. Check up from behind from Ewan Bremer as they come down out of Luffield for the penultimate time.
For the penultimate time, Pulici has done really well holding on to the front of this group. They have maintained a gap to Alexandre Longo of about 3 to 4 seconds, and now they've afforded themselves the chance to race all out on this final lap. They all look at Copse Corner, not going to be the prime place to get it done. Costas is going to understeer then through turn 1, but he needs to drive off the exit. That's where the draft's going to come into play. Miles Owens might have a look then over at Maggots and into the next right. This is a big, big moment then. You can see the uber wide line taken by Owens. He wants to get drive off of this exit. Costas is trying to use all of the track off the end, but Pulici has been absolutely fantastic. He's not going to have any arguments then as he goes through hard over to the right-hand side, trying to cover through. I'm not sure there's a lunge then here at Brooklands Corner. I don't think it's going to be there at Luffield either. It depends on how good Costas is through this section. He's given himself a chance though, but he's going to have to go the long way around or get the drive off the exit, but open the door up slightly, and there's Miles Owens. Not going to quite get there though, as they were to the line. Eugenio Pulici Forza forward. He takes the victory in the number 12. It's Costas second and Owens with back-to-back thirds in Division 2.
An absolute masterclass of defensive driving there from Eugenio Pulici as we look a little farther back down in the field as that gaggle from about 6th on down to 11th comes through. We've got a car around. That's the number 63. That's Jacqueline. Oh, he's had a rough race.
He has. He had the most amazing start, and it's just fallen apart from there, and it's a real shame to see that. He'll now race Connor Hope to the line, who is a lap down, and just behind that, the likes of Nicholas Norwood, who is 32nd. In fact, let's have a Wumpy car in front of them, off and around as well. That's James Austin finding himself with a bit of trouble. So more drivers struggling, heading towards the line, and that is big in terms of their races as they go through. But a wonderful, wonderful bit of driving up and down the field. A great race for the top four, but it was just one which just stretched out a little bit too far for those at the front. We'll get confirmation of results then here from this Division 2 action that we have had, and it is the number 12, Eugenio Pulici, who picks up the victory then in 25 minutes and 40 seconds. Wins by 1/10 of a second and 800ths over Mitchell Costas in second, with Miles Owens rounding out the podium, his second third-place finish in a row in Division 2. Ewan Bramer spent a lot of the time at the front, but could only manage fourth, the second of the Platinum Racing cars, with Alexandre Longo in fifth. Peter Reed would finish off in sixth, ahead of Patrick Cantrell in seventh place. Michael Ellett stayed the majority of the time up through the field, and get this, all with the same gains up in the field. Melvin Tyne, Matt Tempest, and over the page, Edward Gross, that you'll have, DJ, all gained a staggering 17.
That's a remarkable run for all three of those drivers. And behind them in 12th, it was Callie Runson, followed by Simon Robson, then Patrick Alders, Martin Smith, and Renee Zegelar. Osmar Aslan Sert will be 17th. Christian Hinch will be in 18th, followed by Kay Poulsen and Odise Adams Jr. in 20th.
Kay Poulsen, by the way, starts at the back of the field, gained up 17 spots as well, but the hard charger will be Simon Robson up 20. Following that, Carl Jacquelet, we saw the trials and tribulations of him, 21st overall. He will learn from that, with Nicholas Norwood in 22nd. Alvaro Rodriguez then will be 23rd, with James Austin 24th, ahead of Jameson Sampaio. Willem van Rassel will end up 26th, just ahead of Riyad Yasmin, the Lebanese driver, and Mackenzie Mann in 28th. And the last finisher on the leading lap being Sophie Eronwen, rounding that out in 29th. Connor Hope 30th, and then finishing out the drivers, then a lap down or worse, Luis Suarez, Laurent Sebastian, Brett Ride, Sandavara, Javier Sequendez, we saw in the early laps then, as well as Stephen Orrell on top of that. We're going to get some fallout then from Division number 2, and hopefully when we come back, we will have Division 1 action to bring to you. You're watching the MX5 Global Sim Series here from Silverstone Circuit National Legacy. Well, racing is 10 minutes in already. We do apologise, ladies and gentlemen, but we take you with some GSRC radio at the moment. It is Jaume Dalmases who has the lead of the race. Ade Koba currently second, and it's a huge train of cars at the moment for third. Pablo Espes is one of them. He's just been shuffled at Luffield Corner, down a couple positions. Jake Sperry, DJ Clark bringing you all the action. DJ, it is frantic, as we'd expect at the front. It's a 10-car train at the lead.
Yeah, it's a 10-car train at the lead, but the problem here right now is for P3, following that mistake from Espes, as Jason Cooper finds himself about 0.6 of a second behind Ade Koba and Jaume Dalmas there. So they're going to have to hustle their way to get back up and try to be able to close that gap. They do not want to lose touch with those leaders. We saw exactly what can happen if you do that in the last race.
Exactly, and that is going to be crucial. You cannot afford to lose that time. And the 5-star motorsport driver who found himself in that battle embroiled with Ade Koba last time out is going to go through. There have been a couple drivers in trouble early on. David Chapman is one of them, 2 laps down. Caleb Patry, Ronnie Mataniemi, and Martin Sampson all getting themselves caught up then in the early goings of the race. But Ade Koba at this stage is looking for Obsidian right now, like he has got himself everything he wants. He's just taken the race lead away from Jaume Dalmases, but you got Fernando Antoli in 4th, Pablo Espes 5th, Marcelo Pagnan, what a legend he is of MX5 sim racing, he's in 6th. Pablo GoPro Lopez, new team for him, PGZ, in 7th place. Vladislav Shopov 8th, Morgan Burkhardt and Adam Delmont, they've dropped off the back now, 9th and 10th.
Yeah, and there we see that first gap starting to form between Burkhardt and Shopov there for that 9th place position, as you said, as we're able to bring you back on live pictures here. You can see just how close of a running it is up at the front of this field. Everybody trying to push here a little bit, taking that wide line, as we've talked about multiple times, and everybody trying to maximize their momentum around the outside of Maggots.
Oh, they certainly are, and this is big at this point. They want to get everything they can. The search then for Jason Cooper and co as they go through, trying to go to the outside of Jaume Dalmas is not going to have it. Way up the inside. Hello, Obsidian. 1, 4, and 5 at the moment. You got to work against the machine. Pablo Espes, Fernando Antoli. They're a very well-oiled unit, but not at the moment because they're battling right now behind.
Yeah, they're squabbling it out there, and that was a big dive up to the inside for Antonoli, and he is now able to get that position away from Pablo Espes. Here comes a run, though, for Dalmases, trying to see if he's going to be able to get anything into Cops. He's going to back off at the corner right now. Let's see if he tries to maximize the exit here. We've seen this so many times. Looks like a pretty decent run there for Dalmases. Is he going to have that move going down into Maggots?
No, and I don't think so, because he's going to have to play the patience game. He's got no threat behind. He'll want to do it at Brooklands, which is a little bit easier to make it happen. Very quickly, let's talk seeding day points. 20 points for the fastest time, 1 point if you're down in P20. It's so important to get those points in the back of the pocket.
Yeah, it very much is. And these drivers up the front of the field here in Division 1, these are the ones that we talked about that are going to be looking most at those championship standings. Whoa, almost a little bit of close running there with Antonoli and Jason Cooper. Antonoli going to stick his nose down into the inside of Luffield and make this a Obsidian 2-3.
It is. So Fernando Antoli up to 3rd, but crucially in the race lead now is once again Jaume Dalmases. Dalmases last time out at Okayama had the pole position, led the race for 1 corner, dropped it off the road. Bit of contact going through, but this is from the back of Dalmases. That's Ade Koba just behind. Elite when it comes to this style of machinery. Was part of the legendary Team Iberica back in the day, and we know how good Ade Koba can be at any machine at any time.
Yeah, we certainly do, and when he is up into the fray here, you cannot count him out whatsoever. As there they run wide on the exit of Baggots once again, trying to see what they are able to do. It looks like Antonoli is going to try to maybe have a little bit of a run here. No, maybe giving a little bit of a bump draft to his teammates up in front.
He is really trying. Now you've got some Noah's Ark sim racing, 2 wide, 2 deep, 1st and 2nd, 3rd and 4th, and now 6th and 7th as well, because Marcelo Pagnan and the brand new team for GoPro Dalmases is turned, and bang! There's massive contact there for Pablo Espes, who is the unlucky bystander.
Oh, Dalmases and Espes around. They are going to have to wait, and it looks like there, unless my eyes deceive me, maybe some rear wheel damage to the number 17 as he's trying to get it back going again.
Yeah, no, that's caved into rear suspension, so he's not going to get that started again. That's game over for Jaume Dalmatis and the Zenith Esport machine. It now leaves at the front of the field. Ade Koba, Fernando Antoli in second, and then Jason Cooper in third. It is almost identical to Okayama, what's going on right now. But you've got the talented SRC Movano Corsa pacer behind, Marcelo Pagnan, new team for Pablo GoPro Lopez, and don't count out Next Gen's Del Mont and Morgan Burkhardt for Delta Sport, one of the most successful MX5 American teams. Ade Koba now allows Fernando Antoli through into the race lead. The good thing about Obsidian, they let them race.
They let them race indeed, as we've had another spinner around from behind. I think that was Adam Delmont potentially dropping down through the field. Everybody just getting it wrong. And there you see Delmont able to gather the car back up under him, but not after losing probably 10, 12 positions.
Well, that's a shame for Delmont, and he will count those positions and be very unhappy. The car just snapped as he tried to save it, and it was trouble. Look at the group he's in. You've got Andy McEwen up in there. Andy McEwen as well, one of the most, I would say, biggest rising up and coming commentators in the world of racing today. Has done the likes of TCR UK, British GT, even some BTCC track commentary. He is right up there as one of the elites.
Always good to see a commentator getting their elbows out and getting a little bit of racing done here, as that is an absolute gaggle up in front of him, though maybe a little bit of contact there for the 124 of McEwen. That was Joel Singleton coming up from behind, as Andy's now going to roll the car around the corner and try to get a big draft off of the big group in front of him, including Svetnov, Haro, and Espes.
Oh, they're all there, and look at that. You've got Marcelo Pagnan and Pablo Lopez. GoPro has to get on the brakes then and try around the outside. He'll be streaming live on Twitch as well, trying to show his perspective of things. Behind that, Adam McNally, with tears in his eyes, the massive Newcastle United supporter after their loss in the Carabao Cup. Spoilers. He will now be looking to try and get some drive, but it's Oscar Pajadas who is now trying to find a way by.
Yeah, he's trying to see what he's able to do here, side by side, coming down the start-finish straight away. Let's see who's going to be able to outbrake each other going down into Copse. It's going to be side-by-side advantage there to McNally ever so slightly.
He's got there, and Pablo Espes is in this group, and why not thread the needle, make it 3 wide into Maggot's corner. This is great, and door to door, as they now hit the brakes. McNally sends it in deep, but can he get it stopped? No, straight up the inside, more door to door, as they go through 3, almost 4 wide at this point. Welcome to the party, Josue Lopez. Now trying to get through 3 wide, 2 deep, as they now hit the backstretch and find their drafting partner. It's like Talladega.
It is indeed. Let's just hope we don't have the big one coming down here into Brooklands. They try to keep it together, a little bit more door banging there through the field. Somehow, McNally and Svetnov didn't run into each other there. That was McNally and Espes. As now Espes is going to have the inside line. Looks like Pujadas is going to lose a little bit of time. Espes on a great recovery here.
You can't breathe in this second pack. You absolutely cannot breathe. And do not forget the group at the front of the front 3. Jason Cooper's done it once already this season to race for the victory and had to do so against number 1 Ade Koba. But now into turn 1 they go. Copse corner. It's fast. It's ferocious. And Espes will hold off then. Pajadas at this stage. 3 wide behind. Svetanov, Josue Lopez, Adam Delmont almost turning on the front. 3 wide in the back of the group as they go through, having to lift off his Ariharo. This is what we love about Division 1.
It is indeed some of the best MX5 drivers in the world, putting it all on the line here. The front 3 in this. Oh, we got a car around in the back.
We do have a car around in the back. Cooper through, trying to get it sorted. And there is trouble. That's Joel Singleton, who I think who might have just found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. Still, though, for 4th, it's going to be, again, Lopez and Pagnan going through. GoPro trying to get the run, but he's not going to have the draft through Woodcote Corner, and that helps. The Movano Corsa driver then, Marcelo Pagnan's going to have to lean, and it's on for the race lead as well. Every which way you look, this is incredible stuff at the front.
Braking at nearly the same time as, oh my goodness, Morgan Burkhardt touching the outside grass and somehow being able to control that number 9 machine. He's going to lose a little bit of time, but he is lucky that his race isn't over.
This race isn't over. He's still in contact, but it's a lot of work to get back up. He's going to have to rely on these top 3 with Fernando Antoli out in front. Look how much more they're using the track. They're going out to the grass. They're using all the road tacks.
They're using everything they can. They know where it is, and you've got to worry about the bumps at that point on the circuit as it does get a little bit uneven. But we watch right now, Koba trying to see if he's going to be able to send a move around the outside of the number 4 there of Jason Cooper. Cooper's going to defend the line well, and now coming up to the inside, Pignon trying to see if he's able to get anything there to go. They're going to be in a rare sight, single file order as they come out of left field.
Single file order, but you have to cast your eye back to Okayama, where Ade Koba at the hairpin's exit pushed out Jason Cooper. They did collect a little bit as they went through that time, but that's going to be in the back of the mind of Jason Cooper. I don't want that all over again. Here is the drive through Copse Corner with 4 minutes and under now left in this race. They've afforded themselves the 9 minutes that they've won, or the 9 seconds, sorry, over Pablo Espes in 7th place. Adam McNally, by the way, your biggest mover and shaker in the field, 25th to 8th, up a brilliant 17.
An absolutely remarkable run there from him. Oh, my goodness, Jake, I keep watching these cars as they come out of the exit of Maggots, and I'm worried they're going to clip the grass. As Antoli now weaving a little bit back and forth, trying to break that draft as much as possible. Now he's going to go defensive down into the inside. Cooper recognizes it 3 wide for the lead.
3 wide there, but it's still, again, Ade Koba searching for room. He's not there. The moment you attack, you defend. And again to the outside, tries GoPro, looking for it for Team PGZ, the biggest mean team in the world, they will say, with their own eyes. But Morgan Burkhart then for Delta Sport will want to get in on the action as well. And this is the key. The moment you let yourself open an inch, these drivers will try and take a mile. It's the sort of race right now where they go track limits. The answer is yes when you run out of tarmac.
Yeah, exactly. As there you saw, finally, that was Burkhart able to get side by side. Lopez right now, he's going to be on the unadvantageous line, though, coming down into Maggots. Let's see if he's able to outbreak him a little bit. He's got to check his momentum up from the number 6 in front. That's Pignon. And I think, oh, a little bit of contact there.
Just a smidgen, but they hold it together nicely. And as they say, rubbing is racing at this point in time. They're trying everything they can to get into play. Now, Pignon early over to the right. Cooper's trying to go through. 3 wide for the lead. Ade Koba's going to try and make a huge sweep around the outside. He's going to surely run out of road. He is, so he's not going to get there. Jason Cooper, once again, is the 5-star driver against the machine, and they are going to be at 2 laps to go now. Jason Cooper knows he's got to throw the kitchen sink at it this time, or he's going to be in a little bit of trouble. This is crucial crunch time at the pointy end, and he might have a look here into Copse.
No, he's going to give a little bit of a bump there up in front to Antoli, just trying to maybe see if he can push ahead and relieve some of the pressure from behind. I wonder here if Cooper's going to go for it. Lap car getting out of the way. That's good stuff here for this lead pack. They're going to be single file as they make the approach into Maggots right now. Let's see if anybody gets anything crazy here on the exit of the corner.
Well, we'll both have tears. The lap driver is Andy McEwen out there, so a shame for all commentators everywhere. But at this point in time, it's about these front 6. It is the sensational 6 at this moment in a 6-pack challenge. Jason Cooper's going to have to look around every which way, so too Fernando Antoli, who's driven magnificently at the front of this field. If it's not one, it's the other. If it's not the other, it's the third. That's traditionally how it goes, and this is where Nation Cups points could become important. Teams points become important as they head towards the white flag.
Coming down to the white flag here, Antoli having a good run out of the corner, but it looks like Cooper may be able to use that draft to his effect. Does he try to send the move here into Copse? Does he wait again and try to send it into Maggots? A little bit of a bump there from him. He's going to be able to pull that in line, and here comes Koba thinking about a little bit of a move. He's going to back off.
That was as close as you could possibly get, and now it sets up Ade Koba in 3rd, because now Marcelo Pignon, Morgan Burkhart, they're going to want to try and get through and find the pass A, S, A, and P, because they are going to be out of time. This is the last lap, and this drive is the most important through here. GoPro's in the mix as well, but now it's about drive at the front. What has Fernando Antoli got left to defend? Hard over to the right-hand side. Watch the most aggressive serpentine in sim racing take shape, as now Jason Cooper tries to go to the outside and box him in. They will look everywhere for the move. No dice from Cooper. He'll have to send one at left field. GoPro sends one at left field. Can't quite get there. Still on the outside. Antoli will hold. Antoli will hold. Off at the exit they'll go. Jason Cooper again trying everything, but will come up short against the Obsidian machine. Fernando Antoli wins at Silverstone.
My goodness, winning by only 82 thousandths of a second. Koba there behind in third to round out your podium. And here are the rest of those finishers in that big gaggle from behind as Espes, Pujadas, and McNally will cross over the line.
Brilliant work from Pablo Espes to recover in that race. Adam McNally did a fantastic job of holding on. The biggest mover in the field will be Oscar Lozano from 33rd up to 15th. He had an incredible run here today, and what wonderful racing we've had up and down all three of the divisions. We're going to step aside for one moment here with the Global SimRacing Channel, back with results and fallout after this. I think that last race and the last couple of laps there just ignited everything from Land's End to John O'Groats. What an incredible race that we just had to finish off the night's worth of action. Fernando Antoli picks up the victory, 25 minutes, 23 seconds. He had to find every defense possible to stop Jason Cooper, who is still on the cusp of that first victory. He's certainly got the pace for it in second. Ade Koba had a great run. He had to play second gunner, though, here tonight. He finished third ahead of Marcelo Peñan in fourth position, and the Delta Sport driver, Morgan Burkhardt, in fifth place. Pablo GoPro Lopez, new team sixth position, still a solid result for him, more than making the points that he wants to in sixth, with Pablo Espes recovering back to seventh ahead of a huge train, 8th, 9th and 10th. Oscar Pujadas ahead of Adam McNally, the Toonside boy, and a Jordanin Svetinov rounding out the top 10.
In 11th place, it was the Finn of Ari Haro, followed by David Morales and Lars Fischer in 13th. Josue Lopez was 14th, followed by Oscar Lozano, with Vladislav Shapov in 16th, Kelly Greeno in 17th, and Stefan Alderding 18th. Jens Goosens was 19th, and Kali Kavisto rounds out your top 20.
Nice to see Jens Goosens out there racing. Pedro Marimon would finish 21st ahead of Trevor Roy, who last time out was the winner in Division 2, so he's making great progress. Tommy Pellinen would be 13th ahead of Tommy Hasia in 24th. Ishmael Lamela is 25th ahead of Ronald Moons, who is responsible for Virtual Bell Car here in iRacing. 26th for him. One lap down or worse. Joel Singleton, Ronnie Mantiniemi, Martin Sampson, and Caleb Patry finding trouble. So too did Adam Delmont and Andy McEwen, 31st and 32nd. Erin Gummersdal would be 33rd. With Jaume Dalmases, we saw the massive smash up of the Zenith racing car there, and not making it through the race would be David Chapman for Team Year One Racing, making that all a reality. But we do have some drivers here ready for conversation. DJ, you've wandered down and you found Jason Cooper, who managed to finish that one off in second position.
I have indeed, Jason. Another second place result for you here, but after another very, very fierce battle, how you feeling after that one?
pretty knackered now. That was quite intense. A lot going on. But yeah, survived it. And yeah, the bridesmaid again. But we'll win one soon.
Well, we'll see you back, obviously, but very, very tough running there. I mean, how much of this was really just trying to keep the car on the black stuff? As it seemed like that was a problem that was befalling a lot of drivers here, just spinning up the rear tires, taking a little bit too far off.
Yeah, obviously there's some big straights there where you're going to make all the gains, so you try and make the best exit you can, and it's very easy to get a bit too excited with your right foot. So yeah, you've got to keep it smooth. If you give it a bit too many beans, then yeah, it spins you around. So yeah, got to be careful.
Well, speaking of being careful, we head to a very, very tricky course next time out at VIR. Is that one of your favorites, or is that one that you're going to have to spend a little extra practice time on?
No, love VIR. Very different circuit to this one, but yeah, should be some good racing again. Looking forward to it.
We're looking forward to it as well. But Jason, another P2 on the day. Who makes this possible for you?
Yeah, thanks for my teammates, Lars, keeping me motivated, doing a bit of practice together. So yeah, thanks for that, Lars.
All right, well, thank you, Jason. So good to talk to you. That was Jason Cooper, your second place finisher here, Jake.
Absolutely. He did a fantastic job. And now we've got a chance to talk maybe a little bit further down the field over to Adam McNally, who had a fantastic run today, 25th up to 9th position. Adam, talk us through the early stages of the race for your next-gen racing machine, because we didn't get a chance to catch it over on the cameras, but it looked like you made a lot of progress in the early few laps.
Yeah, wait, to be fair, I think it was about lap 4 or 5 I actually started making progress. I just tried to stay out of trouble enough for the majority of it. But once I got past and started catching the pack that was up ahead, the racing was great. Loved it.
Well, the racing was great. It's a shame about the Carabao Cup. I'll apologise for you on top of that. But at least for you, in terms of how today's racing's gone, that second pack got crazy with about a couple laps left to go. Looked like every which way you were trying to look, there were about 3 cars too wide behind you. When you get into racing that's this close and this ferocious, does it raise your expectations? Does it take your sim racing to another level at that point?
Well, I mean, there's so many competitive drivers in here. It's insane how fast everyone is. And I messed qualifying up. Like I said, I was way down in 25th. Nowhere near the time I could set. So I knew I could go faster in the race. And race pace was great. Like I said, in the battling, just everywhere. You'd make a slight mistake and you could lose 2-3 places. If you're lucky, you could catch 2-3 places coming into one corner when everyone's battling. It was just a case of send it sometimes and hope for the best.
Well, send it and hope for the best is going to be key, because next time out, it's Virginia International Raceway. Now, you had a chance to look at that circuit through the media day. Do you feel that a lot has changed in terms of how you're going to be going about taking on VIR compared to what you saw early on in January and now heading into March?
That's just going to be a case of flat out as fast as possible and hopefully get some better results, because lately, just to start off with, at the beginning of the season, I switched to triples instead of VR, which has been a bit of a jump, but I'm getting there with it. So, like I said, it'll just be full sended VIR.
Well, full send indeed. VIR minus the VR, so just I, apparently. Before we let you go, shout out sponsors, anyone you'd like to thank, Adam?
Just Next Gen for having us on board, everyone that does the work here, you guys for the broadcast, and everyone that takes part in the racing makes it so great.
No worries at all. Adam McNally, the Toon Boy, then coming home in 9th position overall with a fantastic jump of 16 places. But that is going to bring then to a close action here from this beautiful Silverstone circuit. So we have to give a massive thank you to the team today, from DJ, from Joe, and of course from Dougie as well. Make sure to check out our social media as well as our website and our merchandise store, which you can find all the links in the description below, along with all of what helps get us done, especially music from June Lalonde. Her stuff is incredible. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, so you don't miss a moment here with the Global SimRacing Channel. Our next race is going to be at VIR, Virginia International Raceway. Join us in March for that one, and join us all the way over on March 26th for that and it will be same time, same place. On top of that, though, what we've got coming up next is the Porsche Owners Club. Round 5 from Sebring is tomorrow from 11 p.m. Eastern, so make sure to jump in on top of that. And all our other broadcasts you can mark down on the calendar as they cycle on around. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.